Alright guys, the first 11 minutes of this video is how we prepare an engine before we put it on a go-kart. If you don't want to watch that part, you need to skip forward to about 11 minutes. That's your section, not this part. Thanks for watching. Alright, we've had a little bit of engine issues with the go-karts. We got a couple new ones here. We're going to show you the way we prep them. And we do take the governor out. That's pretty much the only thing we do to them here at the house, is just take the governor out of them. You can do the zip tie trick on the spring, and there's several other ways to kind of bypass the governor, but this is just the simplest. It gets it totally out of there and you ain't got to worry about it no more. So this is the way I like to do it. Get that shit off of it.
I'm trying.
First thing we're going to do, pull the air box off of this thing. We don't use the stock air box, so it's going to go in the box. That way, if we have an issue with this engine and we do decide to return it, we take the exhaust off, the fuel tank, and the stock air box off, and then when we go to return it to the store, we just throw all that stuff back on there, because they're going to complain if it's got any gas in it. It's, instead of soaking the gas out with rags, it's easier. We don't need the fuel tank, so we just get them off there before we ever put gas in it. We also don't use the stock throttle linkage stuff either, so we just go ahead and get that off there and out of the way. Everything on these motors is pretty much 10 millimeter or an 8 millimeter. I think the header bolts are like a half or 13 millimeter, something like that, or the nuts on the header. It's not a bad idea to keep those around. I mean, we use those on some other stuff, but put the fuel tank back in the box. Keep everything boxed up, that way whenever you have to return it, you know, get the warranty, and then when you got to return it, you just take everything out of your box and put it right back on the motor. Don't drop those nuts in there. Sometimes we will use the stock governor arm still, even after the governor is out of it, and use the springs. There's some of them we just have a little plate that we bolt on here that still runs and uses this stock throttle linkage, but the motors that the stuff that we're working on, we already have top plates. These are going to replace the ones on our cars that have top plates on them with a throttle linkage and fuel pump and all that, so we don't need any of this stuff. Might as well just go ahead and get it out of the way here. It just clamps on right here. Just take that stuff off. We got a whole pile of them laying right here. Now the way I do these from new, if you just turn it up on its side like this, they don't have a lot of oil in them, but they do have some oil in them from the fat, just a little bit. If you never start these motors and pull the cover off, you can usually save the gasket. We have extra gaskets just in case, but if you just kind of break it loose and pull it up slow, kind of look under there and make sure it's not trying to rip the gasket, it usually comes out fine just like that, and just wipe it down. It'll be ready to go right back on there. Like whenever I popped Cameron's up, it tried to pull the camshaft up with it, so probably be a good idea to double check whenever you do these to make sure. I mean, you can give it pulled around there a little bit without getting oil all over your shirt on the compression there. I kind of went past it, but I don't know if you can see the way that lines up. There's a blue dot on the cam and there's a blue dot on the crank. Those got to line up. Okay, we need another camera here. I don't remember where the best place is usually. Maybe it's right there. I think I like it the other way better. Right there. All right. So we want to take, we're going to take this little clip off this internal governor arm so we can turn it freely in there like this. See that little flapper moving? All right, this little plastic gear in here, when this gear is turning, you know, your crank is your RPM, turning this plastic gear, it pushes this little deal out. These weights fly out. See, that's at an idle. Well, probably not an idle, that's turning 0. As it goes, these weights will fly out and it pushes this, which pushes your little flapper up. So if you're still got a governor on there and you're pushing on that rod, that's the resistance you can feel. So that pushes that up, which pulls the throttle back and limits you down so you're not turning over a certain RPM. We don't like those things. We want to be able to turn whatever RPM we want to turn, which really on our little track here at the house is not much more. Oh, hell. I was trying to show you guys the washer that's usually stuck to that. And I just dropped it down in the motor. No big deal. You just need a magnet. Something you can kind of get down in there. This one, just right there. No big deal. So that's the top one that's right under that little plastic nipple. It's one of the 2 that you're going to try to take out of there. Now we got that out of there. There's a little ring in here. I don't know how well you can really see on the camera, but there's a shaft right here that this plastic gear rides on. There's just a little plastic clip that's pressed onto that. What is my hammer? Kill that mosquito with my bare hand.
Hey, I do too.
All right, so I'm just gonna go to each, the end of the little clip. Just give her a little pop-a-roo like that. We're just trying to push it down past the groove in that shaft. Just kind of stretch it out. That's all we're doing. Just stretch it out. If you want to get crazy with these, I've gotten mad before messing with these and I've just busted the plastic out of it. Try to get it all out of the motor and go on. Just forget about it. But the easiest way is just push that down. Some of them are harder than others. And then usually you can just get a little pair of vice grips. Sometimes they'll just pop right, like, I don't know, let me see if I can get it. Okay, I can't get it. I'm not as patient as I used to be. So you just take a pair of vice grips like this. I can stick my screwdriver right here in these a little bit. And all I do is just kind of give it a little pop. Pry against it. I could have pulled a little harder on that. Okay, this is a very important problem. This didn't, on the one I just did right here, we didn't have that problem. This one, the ring wasn't bedded into the plastic well enough, so it didn't come out of the motor. You want to make sure that little ring that you smashed down there comes out of the motor. I can see this one right there. That's what sets on that shaft, just that little ring. So it's usually, I've seen them pop off and fly all over the shop. You just got to make sure it's not in there. And then there's going to be one more washer right at the base of that. You can just stick your magnet down there. Sometimes you got to walk it around to pull it off the little shaft in there. So that other washer right there. So there's 2 washers you want to take out, and then that. We were debating on the other motor what we did with this on the last ones. You know, sometimes I'll just cut them off and pull them out of there, and then in that case there is another washer involved in that. But I'm pretty sure on the last couple that are on there that we're going to replace, we just turned it around all the way against that shaft, put our pin back in right here. Oh hell, come on. Just use these dang old pliers. Go on there. Like that. And then we'll just stick our governor arm back on it. Which also makes it easier too whenever, when you go to take them back to Harbor Freight, it will look like you never messed with the governor. If the governor arm is at least there. So we're gonna have that down like that. Push this back down on here. Like that. And that leaves us pretty well, no room for this thing to move. I'm gonna still hook the spring up just in case. Tighten that thing back down. Hey, did you change the socket on me?
No.
You did too. Turn that thing around. Make sure that's good and tight. If you can pull this, the inside of the governor arm, you can cut it off and pull it out, and then just silicone and run a 1/4 inch bolt, like a standard 1/4 inch bolt in it to plug the hole. But I'm pretty sure on the ones that we're replacing, they still have the stock throttle arm just turned around like this, kind of out of the way. That way, whenever you take it back to Harbor Freight, it looks like all the governor's still there. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. It should clear our top plate and everything should be fine. If not, I'll cut this off or something if I have to. I've got 100 of them things laying around, so no big deal. But at that point, we're done in here, and I can put the cover back on this engine, and then we'll get the Camerons going. Okay, on these aluminum blocks, you don't want to get them too tight with the impact. I mean, this is just a little, like the I don't even know if they really call it a 1/4 inch drive impact, but that's basically what you would use to run screws in. But I like to use a torque wrench on these things since they're aluminum, just to make sure. Click. Click.
I can't even hear the click.
Click. You don't hear the click?
No.
Click. You don't hear that?
No.
Click. You hear it that time?
No.
All right. Switch one. Sit down. Fucking Gomer. I thought you were power washing this thing before we put this motor on.
Oh. I asked you what you wanted me to press.
You gotta take all this helmet off of it, you gotta move on with it. Alright, we've got this dude cleaned up, got the motor on it. It's all bolted down pretty well, ready to go. We need to clean the air filter out. And this clutch didn't go as far onto the crank as what we typically would have. So this will have to just loosen these bolts here, and this is, that sprocket will slide over. So no big deal. We did get the other motor's cleaned up. It's ready to stick back in a box and go to Harbor Freight, and then we'll be on to one of those two right there, either Aussies or Crimson's. Aussies has to have a new motor for sure. Crimson's is just, I think, got a carburetor issue. So we may just, I don't really know what my plan is. I pull the carburetor off of, either pull the carburetor off of this motor before we take it back, or we'll pull the carburetor off of the motor with the broke rod and stick on hers. And it should be ready to go. If we can't take the late model out, we'll just continue our little go-karting fun. So that's all we got for today.